The application is written with Python and Flask web framework. Also, all the dependencies are managed by Docker, so you don't have to install Python or Flask in your local box. I already have Git installed on my local box, so I just issue the git clone command here. Let's see what has been downloaded. The Dockerfile is used to build the Docker container for this web app. The app folder is our application folder, which holds our Python code. There is only one file here. This is one Python program which will initialize and start a Python server. Now let's move on to take a look at the Dockerfile. First of all, it is the from instruction. We're using the Python 3.5 as a base image, which already has Python installed. Then we install Flask 0.11.1 using pip install, which is a Python package management tool. Next, we add a new user, admin. The MS option will create a default home directory for this admin user. And we're setting the default shell of this admin user to bash. The following user instruction ensures that we'll be running the app server under the admin user. In general, you should always set the user instruction in your Dockerfile to run your process as an unprivileged user within the containers. Otherwise, your process will be running as a root within the container. The next instruction is workdir. This instruction sets the working directory for any run cmd. Enter point, copy, and add instructions that follow it in the Dockerfile. Here we are using /app as our working directory. Then we copy the app directory to the container. Finally, we run our Flask application. Because we have defined our working directory to be /app, so here I can just use the relative path of the app.py file. Now we're ready to build the container for our Flask application. Here we do docker build -t, name our Python app as Docker app, then tag it with v0.1. The build context is the current directory because the Dockerfile sits here. Just hit enter to start the build. It might take a while for you to download the Python base image if you have never downloaded it before, because the base image is about 600 megabytes. This is how it looks like if everything goes well. Let's check out our Docker app image by running Docker images. See? The first entry is the image we just built. It's time to run our Docker app container. Here we do docker run -d to run the container in the background. Then -p to expose the port. By default, the Python Flask server will be running at port 5000 inside the container. Let's map port 5000 on the container to port 5000 on the host, so that we can access the Python container from our local box. Lastly, just copy and paste the image ID to run and hit enter. See? Docker builds the container, starts it up at the background, and returns us the container ID. Let's access our Python app server to see if it is up running. First, we need to find out which IP the Python server is running on. If you're using Linux, the Python server should be running at your local box. If you're using Mac or Windows, Python server is running on the Docker virtual machine. You can find out the IP of the Docker machine by running Docker machine ls. See? It displays various information about the default Docker machine. Just copy the IP of the Docker machine. Then open the browser and copy the IP to the address bar. If you're running Docker on Linux, or you're running Docker for Mac or Docker for Windows, you should put localhost here. We have exposed the port 5000 on the host. So here we just type port 5000 and hit enter. There you go. We get hello world. Our app is up running.